people. Hello, is everybody. How are you tonight? Dadman Walking 55 coming to you from the east coast of the U.S. at 9:01 p.m. We are only a 1 minute after the flagship time, but hey, who cares? It's close enough for government work. But, 1 minute too much was short midget generals. Everybody thought Napoleon was a short little midget general. Well, wait till we get you see one of our episodes tonight, and they came complete with one private. Would have been better to have two because then we could have made some very innuendo type things tonight, but we will not do that because we are once again rejoined by the class of this outfit, the one that keeps us straight, the one that keeps us adult, the one that makes us behave and stay on the straight and narrow. It is the great, the wonderful, the one, the only Daisy Blossom Flower Child. Hello, Daisy.
Hello. Hello, chat. I missed you.
And everybody
but I
missed you.
I left you in very capable hands with Dave C.
Yes, Dave C. Yes. Well, Hungry Boy, well, we'll see. JT, yeah, well, JT's cool. My friend Daisy, it is so great. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
I just feel like I don't have enough hours in the day at times.
True. Yes.
And it's like I want to just have chats and talk to people all the time, and it's like not enough hours in the day, and I need to be shot with a low grade beaver tranquilizer just to settle down one day.
Okay.
I need to just relax someday. But hey, speaking of hyperactivity and non-relaxation, it's the one, the great, the new Hungry.
Hello. I mean, for all the pain that at least one of these episodes caused, we have the triple joy to balance that out of having Daisy back with us. And that's all I need to say before we bring on JT. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you, Daisy, for returning to us. And now, bring on the man with the dulcet tones.
Captain.
Dulcet. What does Dulcelax have to do?
Dulcet.
Dulcet. Okay. Dulcet. Hey, JT, you been taking your medicine lately?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
All right.
As a matter
good.
of fact.
Yes, actually. Yes, JT. And I'm glad you're feeling better. Glad you're with us tonight.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a bummer on Tuesday, but unfortunately couldn't have it any other way. But hey, welcome back to Daisy. Missed you last week. Dave was great, but we always love having you back on the panel. Good evening, good morning, good night, whatever it is on the other side of the world and the equator. And
where the water spins backwards.
Well, sure. I mean, that would be the least of our worries with these episodes this evening. But
I know.
True.
Yeah, and Dadman, I mean, every time I look down at my phone, you're doing some kind of another stream. So you've been quite busy this week, sir. So I hope everybody's got their notifications going because you've pushed out a lot of content.
Well, I guess it's just been trying to take advantage of times and things this week. We've had a number of things working, with Grandma Man Walking, other things, and we've been having to work to. We created a new separate remote location-based secret base to do continue streaming. It'll be much lower production quality. The streams like tonight will be back here at home base. Tuesday night with sports ball will be home base. But those others were like the other night with Bucky and Hungry, and apparently they said I attacked a damn Cybertronic Transformer Decepticon laundry machine attacked me sometime during the stream. I didn't hear it, but that's what everybody said, right, Hungry?
Oh, look, you have to go back and listen to the stream to know, but I'll just tell you, wearing earphones and very sensitive earphones, it was bloody awful. It sounded like what Paranormal Activity movies should have sounded like, but don't.
See, that's the kind of entertainment you get around here. Just natural talent, natural God-given talent.
Well, if you're looking for secret bases under the earth, I hear Overlord DVD is subletting right now.
Oh dear!
You definitely could probably talk to him, get a streamer deal or something. Who knows? I'm just saying.
Check
it out.
Okay, might have to. Although I had that little cat streak in me of independence, though.
A little cat streak, mainly puppy, but a little bit of kitty. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm puppy because Daisy's back with us, so I've lost. Maybe I'm chasing my tail, So it'll be heavy Daisy tonight. So welcome back, Daisy. You're gonna be thrown back into the fire very quickly. Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm
I've
ready.
I got the tweets out. I think I got Mr. Angel is here. I think Mr. Angel, did I put it out in the Discord?
Hello,
If I
Mr.
didn't,
A.
please do it for me. If I did, I can. Awesome. Whoa, that's a very interesting. A point of personal privilege right now. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to stream only because I really want to, and then we'll greet the chat. Because I just saw something on TwitTwat that I think is kind of cool. And I wanted to show. Not everything on TwitTwat or TikTok is bad necessarily. Okay,
That's true. I see a lot of great stuff on.
There are
on-
some-
I was thinking of you multitasking.
Oh, see, I'm the king of multitasking. I can do it. It's just I can't talk and type at the same time. That's the difficulty I have. Now, see, this is not Buck Rogers, but this is like 1970s, and it's in the in the sci-fi genre. And this thing and a little kick out to our Scottish friends. Was that at least somewhat close to my Scottish friends?
No, but keep going.
Oh my God, y'all both the bang best. Not even hesitating, not even the sympathy.
My chief engineer says no. No, well, no, laddie.
Look, you did.
No, laddie. No,
You
laddie.
did fine on the French the other night. Take the win.
Right.
Keep going.
All right, well here's your skirts for you and your chains and whatever else you want. It's an R2D2 and a kilt.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, cute.
Yep, I just saw this as I was putting the tweet out again. I just wanted to do this. So, folks, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and also, if you can, share the streams out with everybody else. And thank you for being here tonight with 11 people watching us already. I just couldn't resist this.
I'm sure
That's
that
cute.
Daisy. I'm sure Daisy would prefer that to Crichton.
I think we all do. I had bad thoughts going through my head when I saw this.
Yeah.
Now, R2 was very independent. He told you what he thought in bleeps and bloods, the most profane robot of all time. But Crichton, man, what a jackass, He, at least R2
Designed
was
to be.
nice about
Designed to be. Absolutely.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and say hello to the chat, shall we? The 12 on YouTube and 1 on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch and subscribe over here. By the way, I shout out to Ms. Netters, and if one of my mods, I think, great new mod tonight. I will introduce her here. Lady V Elements is now a mod on the channel. Hello, Lady V. Thank you. And
Congrats on the wrench.
Congrats.
Congrats on the wrench.
Exactly. And especially when Fortnite comes around and we need somebody to kick ass in the chat, that's going to be definitely one of the things. But thank you, Lady V. And actually, I've learned that she plays Fortnite or has played Fortnite. So we were working that angle too. But thank you, Lady V. If you could put out Netter's link in my chat, because I want to highlight Netter's really quickly. Last night at 10 o'clock, I was on with Netter's Network and Troy Pacelli over on Netter's channel. And they had me on for about an hour and a half. We had a blast, a fun time. And thank you to Netters for really shouting out our channel, focusing on interviewing me, what we do here, things like that. And we actually got 10 subscribers from that last night.
Excellent.
And
Nice.
I cannot thank Netters and Troy enough for having me on and for that. And I appreciate them for doing that. I wanted to shout that out. That's why I wanted to really do that. So exactly. So if you can get that link out for me, I'd appreciate it. But let's say our fellow Antipodean, Emily Gangadine and Sammy the Golden.
Well, you did that perfectly. So I will wait.
You sure?
No, honestly. So
Okay,
I'm
cool.
I'm not stealing your thunder. That was well done. Thank you.
Well, but see, it's usually you that sing it. So
Well,
anyway,
and I'm
You,
sorry,
you
Emily.
tend to overthink it, and then you say it slower, and then that's when you can trip over it. If you just let it flow off the tongue,
Right.
then better chance at just getting it right. So
yeah. All right. So hey, all right. Let's go here. Let's see the Emily. Good to see you. Putin's cat. Think off. Yeah.
Oh God.
We're going to be thinking a lot of thinking, and we're going to think
Yeah.
Time Bandits as this happens.
Oh
too,
yes,
folks.
yes, yes. I love that movie.
Exactly, so-
Putin's cat. By the way, you know what he calls himself when he goes up north into Canada? Poutine's cat. Dad joke.
No, I like that. Those are great jokes. Those are great jokes. And Daisy Blossom is with us over on Twitch. Yay! Thank you. Hail to JT Kirk, of course. Mr. Angel is hello all. And by
Hey,
the
Mr.
way, to update everybody on the panel, we did see and hear from Masters earlier tonight. In my stream earlier tonight, he did come in and say hi. It was with us for a little bit tonight.
Good.
So I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Good.
And again, Lady V, thank you. And appreciate your help out there putting the link out. Mr. Angel saying hello to everybody. See, that's what I said. I know we're even close. So you've got to do it, Hungry.
Well, Emily did ask later in the chat. So, okay. All right. Give me a second. Emily Gangadine and Sammy the Golden.
There you go. All right.
Yay!
JT, you want to shot at it or not?
I couldn't even come close to that. I'm just going to leave it.
No, but see, you are our
Hey, Putin's
1942 Orson Welles voice.
Mhm.
You're already doing the work, man.
Yeah.
I love Orson Welles. I'm not making
Yes.
a joke. I love his.
No.
I know. I feel like I need time to prep and think, though.
Mm,
I want to ponder and be creative with it.
Well, that's what he did with his
Exactly.
version of Macbeth. So that's fair enough.
Macbeth, to be or not to be, or what?
No, damn it!
No.
Othello?
I was trying to think of a quip.
God!
I was trying to think of a Macbeth quip, but I swing
I
and
thought
miss.
he was a 1970s cowboy detective riding on a horse.
Oh, you
Oh,
son
sir.
of
You need
No.
to go get some William Shakespeare and
No, listen. Mrs. has all the class in this household, so she just takes me around. She has to mute me sometimes.
I
But
mean, honestly,
Wade,
good to
honestly,
see you,
Wade.
if JT's going to do a Macbeth quote, then it has to be about the river of blood, crossing the river of blood. That's what it has to be about.
why do every time I hear that I think of Billy Joel, River of Love, or there's a song of Billy Joel's like River of Love or River of Life. In the rhythm, there's a song of Billy Joel that pops up. I keep hearing that, and every time I think of that stupid
I
song,
love you, but I am face palming so hard right now.
Okay,
What
well,
are you talking
be careful where you face palm. But Wade said, Wade, you are awesome, my friend. You are
Yes, he
awesome. But
is.
thank you,
Yes, he
sir,
is.
Wade. And wrenches. All right, you're throwing wrenches. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. If you can
I
dodge
agree.
a wrench,
Great
you
line.
can dodge a car. So, and the party. And this first time I got to speak to Snell Messiah, go back, watch our show earlier, had the Mighty Mollusk himself on, and we spent about an hour and a half talking Star Wars. It was a really impromptu, chill chat, and it was a lot of fun. So,
And he knows
yes.
a lot about other science fiction shows as well. He's not limited to Star Wars. And he knows a lot about comic books. He's a well-rounded man of acumen in regards to the pop culture dinorama.
Wait. Oh, Dinorama, not Futurama. I had a smart ass comment in there for something. But see, this is what it was if you missed it, Snell Messiah.
Yeah.
All right. Just wanted to make sure you saw it. So
Haggis
there is
eating robot.
Yes, exactly. So and yes, Mr. Angel, that was a very fun stream with Netters and their Lady V's
Thank you, Lady.
Link out there for Netters Network. Please, go sub to her. Say hi over there. And Wes Cagle. Hello, Wes Cagle. This is another one of the great voices of YouTube. Well, that I want to have on sometime too. So stay around. And if listen, Wes Cagle gives me hope for Florida. So if something stupid happens or it looks ugly, just say it's New Jersey. There you go.
Okay, now sub to Netters, and I still say she looks like a better version of Sheena Easton from '81.
Yep. Well, hey, Putin's Cat's got a question though. The medium Orson Welles or the hefty one?
Both. They were both great.
What?
Unlike Marlon Brando.
Oh my God! The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh, I love that. It's so bad.
That thing freaked me out. Just the previews. So he's like white toothpaste all around.
Yes.
It's like, all right.
And that was the inspiration for Mini Me, because he had a Mini Me in that movie. But that's not what we're talking about today, and we don't want to run late.
Right, I know. Sorry about that. And hey, Spicy Peach is here. Bounces the wrenches off. I hear the curiosity in your voice. And says hello. Mrs. is here. Hello. Don't forget to hit the like button.
Hello,
Thank you, Mrs. for
Mrs.
sneaking
Hello.
in. And yes, all right. All right. Well, folks, thank y'all for being here tonight. So let me just ask y'all real quick. We have 2 weeks left in this series. Let's see, after tonight. We got tonight's 2 episodes. We got 2 weeks, 2 episodes next week. Then the following week, we have 1 episode and a final where we're going to look back over the whole, like 2 seasons.
The recap.
Right.
Yes.
So at this point, JT, what's your kind of assessment of the second season?
It's a complicated question, Dadman.
Daisy or Sundry?
You kind of caught me off guard. Yeah.
Sorry about that. What are your just quick off the top? Doesn't have to be deep or scientific. Just boom. What's your first? See, to me, the first thing off my mind is boom. It's just not. It's not even the first season. It's
before tonight's episodes or including tonight's episodes.
Oh, including, please. Please do.
Yeah. I would, gosh, and I'm trying not to summarize it up in one word, but I would really just say that it was a severely missed opportunity in a number of ways. And it should have gone through science fiction writers before this was ever greenlit. And they should have gone to the writer's room and said, okay, do we have any science fiction or science literate persons at all? And I think they would have fixed a whole ton of the issues. Like, look, okay, you can make fun of some of the camera angles and cut shots and all this stuff from like a technical perspective, but you don't even need to go there because the problems start with the pen and the paper. And I think while season 1 wasn't perfect, they at least knew what they were trying to do. I don't feel like season 2, they know what they're trying to do yet. And we're already, I think, 3/4 of the way through the season, 2/3, 3/4, somewhere around in there.
Right.
And so if you were going to get a season 3, you would have to make drastic changes to a point where Gene Roddenberry kind of started to step away from the next gen. And they, season 1 to season 2 to season 3, there was a lot of transformation. I feel like you would almost need something similar here, whether that be going back to the way season 1 was, or somewhere else. And I feel really quite irritated with the way that they've treated Wilma Deering to date in this season. So seeing that, I'm still willing to give every at bat a chance at a home run, right? But is it capable of trending up to being close to season 1 at this point? No. I think this is a school project that's a week late, and no matter how well you do on it, you're only going to get maybe a C at the end if the teacher's feeling charitable, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah,
well, that's a good
and there are things that I like in the season. I don't want people to think that I don't like any of it.
Right. We're just talking about quick observation. That's it. Because see, like I said, to me, the biggest thing is it's not what I consider Buck Rogers. It's like you said, it's something different. It's not the first season. It's not the bang bang pew pew. The things that I like, the things that I associate Buck Rogers with. It's just kind of like just a lot of side stuff. Daisy, just be real quick. How would you assess season 2 at this point?
Definitely nowhere near as good as season 1.
Well, let me say hello to Stunning. Hello, Stunning. And see, Putin's cat said all the good writers went to Sheriff Lobo and Knight Rider. All right, Hungry, quick assessment. What do you think was the first season?
I think that the writers that could have been doing good science fiction a la season 1 were no longer at this point because of Hollywood trends. They were getting hired. Science fiction was way down in Hollywood at this time in history, and they were hiring a lot of people who were coming off successful shows that had nothing to do with science fiction. So my overall view is there was this recent trend for at least the past 3 weeks we've been doing here. Great episode, terrible episode. Great episode, terrible episode. Because of the writers, just like JT was saying, that they were hiring who had no understanding of the genre whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, let's get into the first episode tonight. Episode 33 overall, number 9 in the order for season 2, the Satyr. That's anyway. Victor French was the director. Wow. Paul Snyder, Margaret Snyder were the writers. First aired March 12th, 1981, episode 55907. And boy, these descriptions get shorter and shorter as the series goes because there's not much to it. While exploring the planet Arcadis for a lost human colony, Buck finds a boy and his mother, the last remaining colonist, and soon learns the family is being tormented by a satyr-like being. When Buck confronts the creature, he's bitten and soon begins transforming into a satyr himself. After learning the strange affliction had turned all the men of the colony into creatures. There's a joke
spoiler
there.
Nice spoiler there. IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Buck tries to fight the transformation and helps the family escape the planet, which we learned was some kind of other technical scientific infection, like an encephalitis family. It was really, really crazy the way they did that, but it was interesting to see. Basically, what we have, Buck splits off. Hawk and Wilma go scouring the asteroids and surveying out there. Once again, sideshow, and it's Buck takes Tweaky down to the planet's surface. He lands, and then he gets attacked by a wolf that bites him, and then he runs into the boy and his mom, and then you see the apprehension. The mom's in fear, and as Buck had, before he meets them, actually finds a little marker to the colony that was set by Major Jason Samos when Earth was out establishing settlements throughout the galaxy after the nuclear war and nuclear holocaust that Earth had been through. So now, as we remember, that Buck and the Searcher is out trying to find the lost generations of Earth. It sounds like Battlestar Galactica in a way, type of thing, of looking for all these lost colonists everywhere. So they're out to find all these people, and we find out that these are the last 2 colonists because the men turned into these creatures. The others left the planet because of it, but didn't make it to their destination. And then we see Buck trying to fight off the Pangor, and then then Pangor goes into the, we learned that Pangor is actually the Major Jason Samos who had turned into the creature, but he became himself near the end with his wife, and basically Buck gets the mother and Syra and her son Delph off the planet back to the Searcher, and he is saved by Dr. Goodfellow and badass attitude droid guy. And that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. We can start wherever y'all want to start with this episode. I think overall that it was not a bad episode. I liked the premise. I liked the way they they brought out the enemy, the threat at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you remember those damn commercials in the 80s of the damn pan flute. Oh my God, the Zamfir. Oh my gosh. Right off the bat, you heard the pan flute going, and it was like his call. And so you had that. But I think the principle was really cool. And then as we learned that the men were turned by these creatures, by this infection on the planet, really was very interesting to see concept. And then how the mother and son stayed behind, even though others had left, and how they were left on their own on a planet with basically no one else there except the Pangor kept coming all the time, wanting food and wanting their wine and taking everything from them.
They wanted a bit more than that, and I'm sure Daisy's going to be mentioning that aspect of the episode.
I didn't see it, but then again, I like to live in a fantasy world, so
you must have had your eyes closed there.
Yeah,
and you weren't listening.
We want woman.
Yeah.
Well,
It was
they didn't
over and
listen.
over again.
Listen, I got an innocent reputation to uphold, and I'm going to keep it that way. So it's
Until you're talking about Ashoka, yeah. But
but
yes.
but no, that's Ashoka. But hey, but I will say it was so funny. The things as a kid too. It's like, but yeah, but overall, I thought it was pretty realistic the way they said it. I thought that they had a good premise. Did they execute it properly in all places? I don't think so. We also see technology like with the glowing yellow eyeballs that are like off centered and
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting with that. So, okay, show notes. Go with your notes. Who wants to go first?
Let's Daisy. Daisy's back. Can we have Daisy go first, please?
If Daisy's ready, Daisy, would you
Yeah.
like to go first?
Um,
Unless you don't want to.
wow. Way to just throw me right back into the
No,
fire.
sorry. I'm just so glad
I
you're
could start
back.
with something funny.
Go ahead. Let's do
Please.
it.
I'm
Yes.
pretty
Go for
sure
it.
my mom had those plastic grapes in a fruit
Yes.
bowl on our dining room table.
Yes.
Yes.
And then they just close pegged them to the plants. And I'm like,
Yep.
who do you think, who, seriously, do you think you're fooling with that nonsense?
Right. My nana had those grapes. Well, one of my nanas had those grapes. Plastic fruit was
Yes.
very common back then.
Yes,
And
but it didn't
tacky?
even look, it looked purple and it wasn't even a good purple. It was like
Because grapes are so expensive, they couldn't afford them on set.
I guess
Right.
not. I don't know. And then she's trying to shove it into the thing to make the wine. And I'm going, how many times did that poor woman have to redo that without busting out laughing about how ridiculous this is?
no, I know.
I remember my
Sorry.
grandparents had their plastic grapes. Yes. Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
mhm.
Oh, I love that. That's
I-
funny. Yeah.
And then the horse's armor.
Oh God.
So I'm watching it and the eyes light up and I'm going, okay, I mean, we're trying, kind of. And then it snorts water out of its nostrils and I'm
I
like,
thought it was fire, but
what are we going for? Well, maybe it was supposed to be steam, but it
yeah,
looked like water.
same. Yeah.
And then when the horse was riding away, the plastic whatever the heck was on the side of the horse was bouncing around and moving and I'm going, "Oh, this is awful." I think in middle school for a play we could have done better than
Well,
that nonsense.
Exactly.
I don't know if anyone else picked up on this. They reuse the shot of the horse going up on its hind legs or being upset with the red eyes 2 or 3 times from a
Mhm.
couple different angles.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
it's very quick, like it's a cutaway or a hungry eye. I don't know the official name for it. Maybe you do, where they shoot it at a weird angle real quick for a split second and they go on to something else.
Mm.
But that was like an animatronic or a dummy
Mhm.
or a mock
Yeah.
up with the eyes turning red. And
Yeah.
then the actual horse always is just running away.
Mm-hmm.
I like
So
the
it's
effect of
it's
the red eyes with that horse, though. I thought it made it like a demon horse,
well, but half the shots are not of an actual horse.
Yeah,
So
no.
But it's the
anyway,
1970s. So like Lady V said, grapes and wine theme were popular as decor for dining rooms. Yes,
Mhm.
I remember
Mhm.
those back then. It's
Mhm.
funny how time period it fits in with that. Lazy Susans and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
I remember playing with Lazy Susans and spinning them like crazy. But I did. But not perfect though, JT. But did you like the idea of the horse kind of giving them something
I
scary?
wondered how a bite from a carnivore that was kind of like a wolf would turn a horse's eyes red. At the beginning, I was okay with it. By the end, I was like, "Well, this just looks kind of stupid."
Yeah. Okay.
In context,
Yeah.
yeah.
Context is key.
Well, yeah, and then you're talking about them being set I can't say the word. The
Satyr?
Satyr, thank you.
Yes.
So they're being satyr, and so they're semi-wild themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has this horse, and he somehow made this outfit for the horse. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, why would you make the headpiece for the horse with the red eyes?
Mm.
Because it didn't look like those were the eyes of the horse on another planet. And it just, and then these crazy people take all the time to make these cute little pan flutes. And then the guy pretends like he's playing, and I'm going, you've never played an instrument in your life, have you? With his fingers just bouncing up and down. And then there's music, and I'm going, no, 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 no.
But Daisy, I mean, if you look carefully, just to back you up before I want you to go on, please. You know how I pick up little visual details because of my background, right? There were no holes in the pan flute. Why are you fingering something with no holes? Oh, I should rephrase that. Why are you doing what they did?
Yeah. Phrasing.
That was accidental, I promise.
No,
Why
hello,
are you
old man coming?
Yes.
Good to see you tonight.
That is
Why are you-
correct.
I mean, it's like if you have no frets on a stringed instrument, why are you bothering? If there is no way that moving your fingers on those tubes for the flute are going to alter the sound, why are you bothering? Why? Because
That is
Glenn A.
correct.
Larson doesn't know. Because Glenn doesn't know.
Apparently, he's never played an instrument in his life. I mean, yeah, come on, kids know you've rolled up paper and made little holes and tried to blow through it and it doesn't work. And,
I know.
Yeah. And why did they spend their time doing that when all they cared about is women and wine and one woman and her wine?
It is classic Greek mythology. That is
yeah.
something that satyrs and Pan himself, Pan played the panpipes. That's where we get the term panpipes from. So
No, I understand, but
I appreciate that Glenn was giving it his best go, right? But his best go is just generally not good enough.
no.
But it was good enough for the South Africans when they made Space Mutiny and you reused him, the king of the reuse. But sorry, I digress.
Glenn, the great recycler. Yes.
Yes.
I'll keep going, Daisy. You're on a roll. I love it.
Well, I did think the whole at the beginning when man, my brain has gone today. When Buck was going to leave, and he was saying it was too bad that Colonel Deering wasn't coming with him because the planet had 3 moons.
Right.
And we know how you are in the, and I kept saying pale moonlight, but in the moonlight. And then at the end, when she says, we know how you are in the moonlight, I did think that was cute.
Yes, I love
See,
that.
I found it kind of annoying because I think that they're trying to tease this quote sexual tension or this relationship thing, and it's like after the whole first season, like it's like, are they going to get together or not? Just quit playing around the bush and just do it.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as coworkers razzing one another.
Oh,
I didn't take that as a
really.
No,
okay.
I just took it. Yeah, as friends razzing one another.
I thought that he was making the moves and stuff like that, and the way she smiled is what did it. But
there was a twinkle in the eye. But the thing is that friends can sometimes, I think Daisy knows what I mean, fake flirt. And just, to let off a little bit of steam. It is flirting, but it's got no intention behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean, Daisy.
And, but maybe it's just a sensitivity to how this whole thing has been going with this whole series. Are they going to get together? They're not going to get together. And this one just looked, because it's been hot and cold this season. Like 1 minute she reads him the riot act and yells at him. Next minute she smiles like a teenager.
I think if they got to season 3. I think if they got to season 3, there would have been an intention for a romance between Buck and Wilma. However,
Mhm.
we have to know that there was a semi-solid rule in Hollywood at the time this was being made, where you can't let the sexual tension die. You can't let these people get together, otherwise it's not going to work. And then these idiots forget how well certain shows that had a man and wife team worked.
And and I guess that is one of the concerns is sometimes when the couple finally gets together, it's like it becomes anticlimactic and goes down from there. I kind of
Yeah.
like when Penny and or whatever Dort dude, Rusty from Christmas Vacation got together.
Right.
It's like the show Big Bang took it. It's like, oh, okay. Or like in Psych when they got together, it's kind of like, oh, okay. You lost that edge of will they, won't they, and it.
Yeah, but see, then you have Heart to Heart with Stephanie Powers, right?
Yeah,
And
that
you
was
know what I'm talking
good.
about. Oh, and that was sexy, Daisy, because then it wasn't about
Mhm.
will they get together. It's about are they going to find a closet to get together? You know what I mean?
How close together can they get on television?
And you could smell that smoke between them, Daisy. And they've been married for a long time, and it's like that's the way a married couple should be, if you know what I
Hmm.
mean.
Hmm.
I loved Heart to Heart.
They're
But
just
I will say that in general, there
Mm,
was always an idea that if you had these, a man and a woman, they couldn't be together. You had to keep stringing it along because
moonlighting. Mm.
otherwise people wouldn't they wouldn't accept it, or it just wouldn't work out, or I don't know
I know
what the
what you mean.
thinking was exactly. I know that there was, for a while, there was an idea that if the women watching the program thought that the male lead was still single, then they had a chance, and
Yes.
vice versa. But I
So you're
always
saying there's
thought,
a chance.
yeah, there's a chance. There's definitely a chance.
Hmm.
Um, but I always also thought, especially with things like Heart to Heart,
Mm.
well, can't I, as a female, go, okay, but I want to be in a relationship like that?
Right.
I want a guy that my husband which I have a husband and he's never mind.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I want to grow up and get married and have my husband talk to me like that and treat me
Hmm.
like that. And I think they may have lost the script on that.
Mm.
Because the thinking in Hollywood was, well, then girls can't see themselves with the guy lead, and then boys can't see themselves with the girl lead
And
if they're
precisely, I
married
was
to each
feeling the
other.
same. I was feeling the same way about Stephanie Powers. You know, like even if I'm with somebody else, I might want that somebody else to behave like Stephanie Powers behaved towards her husband. And I mean, she was very flirty, but always very classy. But there were
Hmm.
times where I mean, look, they say where there's smoke, there's fire. We know there was a lot of fire in that relationship, and I'm not
Hmm.
talking arson.
Or maybe, who knows?
No.
Too many candles.
Oh
oh,
yeah, too many candles.
just not that. I'm sorry. I was
I'm
about to make.
Catholic. I don't do candles in the
No, I
bedroom,
was about to
Daisy.
make a
Oh,
Gwyneth
okay.
I was about to make a Gwyneth Paltrow comment, but I will move on. So, but it's just oh god,
Yes.
you guys are amazing. But I will say that whole thing. I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. I know. And if I'm correct, the missus has talked about that like in a lot of the Korean shows and stuff. Is that there's a lot of pressure on the actors, even personally over there. It's like they have to really be careful sometimes because if their idols like get in relationships and stuff, it becomes a real life serious situation. Because,
Mm.
like you said, people look and say, "Oh, well, there's still a chance," or "There's not," and so yeah, that is and it is interesting that that may have been the way it was looked at back then, even that
Mm.
far, what 40 something years ago.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
Stunning had to skip so many naughty jokes because he's got his hands full.
Right on, stunning. Right
Yeah.
on.
Herbie breaks down on the interstate. There you
Well, yeah,
go.
Putin's cat said Stephanie Powers is in his favorite Herbie movie, and I don't know any of those, so I
Mm.
just put down what I imagine one might be. So
Oh, but that'd be a good That'd be a good Tarantino Herbie movie.
Oh yes.
Jeez. I can't believe we're talking Tarantino.
Only if the women drive barefooted.
Yeah, I know. Oh
I
God.
was not even going there. Oh my gosh! Thank
Did
you,
I
Daisy.
say anything wrong? I
No,
just
you
said.
didn't. I just laughed. I just laughed at it.
No, Daisy, it would only be wrong if you suggested that Brie Larson be starring in the
Oh
film.
God,
Therefore-
no! Please don't. I'm already have a headache and don't
No,
feel well. Please
no.
don't go with Brie Larson and her feet. Oh God! Don't Google that, chat.
No, don't.
Don't. Yeah. Well, old man Kelvin said, "Funny thing. I thought Remington Steele was if Bond was a detective and Pierce Brosnan was James Bond." Yeah.
Mm.
Remington Steele was a cute show.
Yes, it was.
That was a really cute show.
Mm.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting, but it's kind of a shame that he was the Bond. He was tied up with that in all those areas after Roger Moore was retiring, and what could have been. I mean, he eventually became Bond for a while, but
And
But
that
then-
Pierce Brosnan was Irish? He wasn't even British.
Yeah, he's Irish.
He learned that
I think-
accent. He's a good boy.
Isn't Craig the first actual Brit to be James Bond?
I don't know.
I think
I
the
don't
others
know.
are all either Scottish or Irish.
Oh no, Roger Moore's not Irish.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is he English?
I'd have to check that. I believe.
Well,
he is.
hey,
Okay,
the Roger
never
Moore,
mind.
the Roger Moore, great classic, A View to a Kill had Duran Duran. They're English.
Oh yeah, Roger was. I just checked.
Roger
Roger
Moore
was
is
born in
English.
London. Born
Yep.
in London.
Oh, okay, never mind.
By the way, that's my little attempt at giving Hungry a little grief about Duran Duran, his favorite '80s group.
Oh yeah,
Note
love
how
them.
we just ignored you.
Yes, you did. You and JT did a fine job. So hey,
Well, shall we go on to because I mean
Exactly.
I would love to spend a little time on this episode, and I don't mind
Yes.
losing some
but then
time.
Hungry,
But
Hungry,
the
will you
Munchkins,
take over?
man.
Where are your notes? I know where your nuts. I mean your notes. Where are your notes on this one?
Oh, I
What do
got
we have with
notes.
This one. Well, go ahead.
okay.
Let's go. Go ahead.
I'm
the
going to
lead
warn
now.
you guys that I probably like this episode more than any of you, but that sometimes happens. I like the idea. I mean, there was some weird good stuff here that I think was a little bit under the surface. So you look at taking the myth of the satyr, the Greek myth of the satyr, and adding 1800s California stuff like pioneering, and that's where actually the wine vineyards and grapes in California are. I mean, it's a major part of the Californian industry, and there's not a lot of difference between a settler, a pioneer, and a colonist, and they refer to these people both as pioneers and colonists in this episode.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and so I thought that was very interesting. And then because we're going to get into a little bit of dicey territory with this episode because there are both allegories and metaphors here, and you're looking at, again, this goes back to pioneering, and certain barbaric behaviors that happened within the pioneering times, particularly around California. And people don't realize how savage a city San Francisco was during the time of the gold rush, which brought a whole bunch of new pioneers and other people coming in. So it was a gutsy choice to look at that and look at how women could be. There was a very delicate term for bad things physically happening to women in that way back then. It was called being interfered with. And so police at the time might ask people, was she interfered with? And Daisy knows what I mean by that. And that was directly implied, almost to the point of being subtext in this episode. And I thought that was very gutsy on their part to look at that and look at another aspect that was a problem during pioneer days, drunkenness. So a satyr is actually a very good metaphor or allegory for how men could fall down in regards to these hard jobs, and they might become violent to their family, and they might become violent to women and children and be a risk. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's part of history.
Mhm.
And it was a regular concern back in the 1800s. And you look at the dress that Ann Curry, who played
Mm-hmm.
Cira, was wearing. Very 1800s, not modern, not sci-fi whatsoever.
Right.
And you look at the wine press that she's using. I mean, it looked like a giant garlic press, for God's sake.
Yep.
And the old
Yeah.
hand done ones. And
Mhm.
so this, I mean, they're colonists, but they had apparently very simplistic tech. Now, obviously,
here's a
I will
picture
have
of her dress. Here's a picture of her dress on the planet. Of
Yes,
course,
but
Buck with the yellow eyes.
the bottom part of it is a long
Mhm.
floor length rather than a lot of the other sci-fi-esque.
Right.
The material was different. The
It was rough
colors were more
cotton.
muted.
Mhm.
It just wasn't sci-fi-esque at all. Neither is her hairstyle.
Very
To pull it
1800s.
Yes, to pull it up like that to get it out of your way when you're trying to work outside or hand wash dishes or press plastic grapes. Whatever it is you're trying to do, it's easy, it's up and it's out of the way. It's not
It's functional.
Yes, it's very functional.
Mhm.
It's not
And
designed to attract the men. It's designed to let her do the work.
correct.
Very
Great point,
nice
Steve.
detail. Very nice detail about that with the clothing in there in that scene. Yeah, didn't even think of
But
it.
also
from
the
that,
body
that
language.
Part.
I mean, look, to back up Daisy, number one, this woman is, I know they're doing makeup because the cameras need you to have makeup in order to reproduce properly for television. But the makeup they did looked to be designed to imply that she was not wearing makeup at all. She looked very plain.
Right.
She looked like a good
Yes.
mother.
Yes.
She looked like someone who was living a life rather than Princess Ardala, who looks like she came off the cover of Vogue in 1977.
Exactly. Let me
Yeah.
show, because this is a side view of her right here. But
Yep.
here's her on the searcher. Look
Right.
at the difference.
Yes.
Big
And
difference.
this is the hair done. This is, you can see that she's got mascara and the underliner. And even though the lips are not a bright red like Ardala, she's still wearing lipstick, and you can
Now,
see that.
This is a wig, right?
No,
I
that's her
would
hair.
imagine.
No,
Is
that's
it?
her hair.
No,
Okay.
I think it's
Ann
her.
Curry always had great hair.
She might I add, I really liked her acting in this.
I loved
I
it.
think
I got notes. Yes. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Yep,
please.
I think she did, when she was the mom and being, trying to be protective versus trying to just be a fun mom versus when she was afraid of the sitter. I keep saying that word wrong.
Satyr. Yep.
And satyr, yeah. And just her face was very expressive, and I thought she was doing a very good job of acting when sometimes what was going on was sort of okay. You're acting way too well for this particular scene.
Or
But I
show.
did appreciate it. I did appreciate it.
And also to back you up, she was also being protective of Buck. She was trying to keep
Yes.
Buck away from the secret mystery of the episode to protect both Pangor, otherwise known as Jason, and protect her son, because if Buck killed Pangor, Buck complains about this, in that breakdown scene. I thought Gil Gerard did a great job in that scene. And the way that the stress of that was leading up to his initial change. Let me just point out something else. We know Glenn likes to mix things together, Daisy. Did you notice that they were mixing, in a way, lycanthropy with the satyr?
They're mixing what again?
Lycanthropy,
Yeah.
werewolfism, being a werewolf.
Werewolfism. Yeah, because when the wolf-like creature came after him, I was going, "Oh, yes," because on the DVD they spoil everything that's happening too. So I was going, "Oh, is that how it's spread?" But also the changing, yes, and that her husband turned into this horrible creature. She still loved him because she knew it was her husband.
Yes.
She wanted to protect him, but she needed to protect herself and her son as well.
Yes.
And then at the end, the the actor who played her husband did that ending very well.
I
When
love
he
it.
came
Got
back
notes.
to,
Yes.
I'm remembering, I remember you, I'm sorry, and the coming out of the,
And he
changing
actually said,
in,
"I always loved you. I never wanted to hurt you." He said that
yes,
directly.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, let me point out, Buck only starts to change after Pangor bites him on the shoulder. Classic
yes,
werewolfism.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as opposed to when the dog-like creature,
Yes.
I assume bit his arm is what I
Yeah.
got from
The
that.
dog, the
Yeah,
wolf got the arm. The wolf got the arm.
But Buck
right,
didn't
but
start
that's
changing until after the
no,
battle with Pangor.
Right.
right, and so it was however they initially got the illness
Mm.
was never discovered, but then how they would transmit it was if you got bit. And
Mm.
then they did say that not all the men changed.
Yes.
Right. They did say that too.
Which implies, again, an underlying bestial aspect in some men, but not all. So that was an interesting part of it.
They were vampires.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah,
From
I
the,
hear
from the
you.
dot episode. Anyway,
Oh my.
I know. But let's not talk about vampires until we get to the
Well, you know
Munchkin
what?
episode.
There was something else.
Oh,
Let me say real quick.
yeah.
Hello to Liam Greywolf. Welcome, Liam,
Mm.
over on the Twitch side. And two of their emotes with Ashy. Also, just the real man. Every full moon, the city shivered to cry, "Where's Seder?"
Nice.
But you know what? I thought of this. I didn't think werewolf. I, I guess I'm a mutant or something. I thought of Calabas, Clash of the
True.
Titans.
That's because,
Yeah.
Dadman, how many werewolf films have you seen? Be honest.
Twilight. The Twilight series was
No!
my favorite because I
No,
was
those
teen.
are vampires that sparkle.
But it had
With
werewolves.
fake werewolves.
I know. Anyway,
No,
but
that's
I'm
not a
kidding.
werewolf film. That's the first real one.
Hello, Phantom Outsider.
Hello, you're not getting away from this by saying hello to Fanty. Okay, the
But
first
I gotta
werewolf.
I
You're
still
not.
gotta say
The
hi
first
to
werewolf
Fanny.
film is The Werewolf of London, which actually leads to the song that came decades later.
with the
That's
Chinese
with Henry.
menu in his hand.
Right.
Warren
And
Zevon.
yes, and that is with Henry Hull, a great classic actor.
The Secretary of State.
Damn you.
No, I mean, anyway, never mind.
I love you. No, I'm just kidding.
War.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But then you had Lon Chaney Jr., not Senior,
Right.
playing the Wolfman. Then you had a whole bunch of ones in the 50s.
Right.
And then you would lead up to a classic one, which is very much like this one, with Oliver Reed, believe it or not, in Curse of the Werewolf, made in Britain, where we have the whole issues that are going on in this episode that I think Glenn had seen and wanted incorporated into the script, where you have somebody who just doesn't want to destroy their family and other people who love him and want to help him. But there is the romantic and sexual element in Curse of the Werewolf, where you do not have that in The Wolfman, and not to a great extent in Werewolf of London.
Yeah, it's interesting, all those connections. But see, it's just, to me, I didn't see those, but I saw Clash of the Titans, Calabas, the makeup, the head, the face, all that spoke that to me. I didn't even get the werewolf connection really. But then again, I think that it's also what we're exposed to. You guys are exposed to more of those genres and stuff like that. So, but physically, it looked like Calabas to me, and that's what I really attached it with. But
and
who was
Calabas?
stricken with a curse? But he was deformed by a curse of the gods.
That's I mean, look, we can look at Clash of the Titans and we can look at bad werewolf films, and everyone's picking and choosing what they're going to make for this particular episode. But there were, I mean, Daisy, do you want to go on, or do you want me to talk about some nice things? Or JT.
Hold on, before we do anything, Bucky's, hey,
Bucky!
we love you, and hey, it'll be good. Yeah, rough night with the kids. Thank you for coming by to say hi. The kids will go down. You will win. You are Bucky. Just
you will win.
all the encouragement. And no, I did not attack the dryer the other night, Bucky. You're hearing things. Bye. Okay. All right. Sorry, I just had to say that for encouragement. Okay. All right, JT. Thoughts? What are any thoughts of what Hungry has pointed out?
Oh, well, he brought up my opinion of the episode by bringing out some of the overall arching theme of it. But overall, I was severely negative on this episode, mainly for the fact that I could tell exactly what was going to happen. Maybe I've seen too much sci-fi or read too much sci-fi. I knew the second that they showed just the mom and the son and then these wild man creatures, and then he landed, and then there was this attack, and there was no real explanation about what happened to anyone else or the dad. I was like, oh
Yeah.
so they were transformed, like, and I knew that within the first 10 minutes. So I'm like,
not much of a mystery.
Oh, gosh, yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't a mystery.
and yeah, and they just did a poor job with that. And like I said, maybe I've just been too familiar with the genre to just see it coming. But I was like, this is not even a mystery. And then the only thing that threw me off was really that Buck didn't start turning until later. But I knew he was going to try to fight this thing, and he was going to lose his gun because that was an obvious advantage that, you just wait for him to start running away and then blast the dude with your Han Solo pistol, right? So I knew
it was a Han Solo pistol with a little light beam thing on the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't that opposed, Dadman, to using the Greek imagery here. I feel like maybe the writers were familiar with Star Trek. There are two episodes that come to mind. Who mourns for, I always say it incorrectly, who mourns for Adonis? And Plato's stepchildren. This was kind of more like Plato's stepchildren, but I'll call it Aristotle's uncle-in-law. I don't know. But it feels similar to that. So there has been a relationship with Greek mythology and science fiction on television up to this point. So I don't think it was a tacky or wrong move with it. I did have a problem, however, because it was not adequately explained. Okay, if some of the men are changing,
right,
what happened to all the other men?
Right.
We never saw mass graves for the colony.
They conveniently left, and they were all didn't make it because their ship.
And then they didn't make it.
Where all the other
their
women?
ship blew
Where
up.
all the other children? The ship just left. I mean, it felt cheap.
Did the other?
It felt cheap to me
because there were others that had turned. When it was obvious that was her husband. But then when she was into I can't leave, and then it's I can't leave because that's my husband. I was thinking, well, where are the wives of the other guys that have turned?
In Daisy, I was going to bring this point up, and I'm glad that you brought it up. It only cemented for me, oh, she must be related. Like the men turned into one of these guys because and this was a topic that I almost wanted to skip ahead in the episode because I did not want to see it. But there is a scene, ladies and gentlemen, if you did not watch the episode, where the satyr forces the son, the young boy, out of their rustic
domicile,
on the prairie domicile cabin, what have you. And he starts making noises and she starts making screaming noises. Violence is occurring, and everybody knows that is heavy code for SA, or the things that the drapes that you hang on your window, if you know what I mean. And then like 5 seconds later, the boy's trying to like look in through the window. I'm like, oh no. This would not be the first time that this had happened if this was the route, right? Because she knew the penalty for not having enough of this wine to keep him drunk and happy. This kid would have severe PTSD, and she would be like, I don't care, use me as bait, get my son off this planet. And we're gonna find a way to get revenge on this guy, and she doesn't do any of that. And it was like, okay, so she must have some other personal relationship with this guy that doesn't excuse what he was doing to her by any means. But I'm like, the only reason you would allow yourself to stay in that is if you had some type of familial or romantic attachment or former attachment to whatever this thing is. So that right there locked it in. I was like, oh, that's her husband.
They threw too many clues at you too early on.
Yep. And so then when Buck was devastated that he basically deleted her transformed husband,
or thought he
she's
did,
like,
yes.
No, I was thankful, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here going, well, yeah, of course. Like, the audience knew all this so far out in advance. So, and that boy would have known, would not have been so stupid as to start blowing into the pipes or,
good point.
Any way to attract this monster, right? She wouldn't. The mom wouldn't have to sweet talk and make a game about going in the house and hiding. If they had been a party to that level of violence before, and somehow they both survived.
He also would have known. It wasn't just that maybe the music would call this creature to them, but that it would upset his mom. I can guarantee you that little boy was old enough to know, don't blow into those things because it upsets mom.
Yes. And so I just, thank you, Daisy. I felt like that was poor form by the writers on some of that. You could have attracted him back in other ways, and they just didn't. So, that was kind of the biggest letdown. Is some of these topics, I think, set this episode up to be far more darker than the way that they played it off, and they tackled a very dark subject in what I felt was an unserious manner.
You have to remember the time period in which it was made.
But
they weren't allowed to go any darker than that, I guarantee you.
The thing is,
true.
I agree with that. They couldn't have gone that darker, but I mean, are we inferring more than that's should have been inferred there, or
how so?
No, I think they were in
that there was a lot more going on, a lot more personal, intimate violence than
there was a lot of subtext here, Dadman. We talked about subtext earlier. A lot of subtext.
Yeah,
a lot of things that you show and the reader or the listener or the audience knows does not have to be spoken directly in the script. That's what subtext is. Oh, good night, Mr. A. Sorry.
Hey, Mr. Angel, and hello, Thade. Good to see you come in and one go out. But hey, we got 15 still here with us.
So
4 of Twitch. So thank y'all, everybody. Yeah, go ahead, JT.
Just to end my thoughts on that, once I had seen what this thing was doing to the mother, I was just like, we can do one of these things where, maybe Buck just says we're going to go sit in the shuttlecraft until it's time to go and lock the door, and we're all going to hand out these nice little laser pistols, and we're just going to sit and hang out and play cards in here because that's what we need to do. And then we're going to drop, a solar bomb on this planet to get rid of these things.
Nuke it from orbit.
No, we're going to put 6 generals. No, we're going to put 6 generals on it.
No, don't do that. We'll save that.
Hello, Brogo.
I felt no sympathy at the end for these untransformed, just okay, but. Yep. At the end of the day, you still kill the werewolf. Hey.
Yep.
The werewolf still committed a crime. You don't get out of that. And so anyway, I appreciated some of the themes that maybe I didn't pick up on because I was a little rushed this week. That Hungry mentioned. So I will raise my, I guess, opinion of the episode for whatever that's worth. But
okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, then help me, Hungry, okay? Because, see, I look at this stuff. I'm very literal at times. If I don't see it, I don't see it. I sort of get the thing where, I'm sort of puzzled. Is it possible? Well, no, I didn't see it, so I don't believe it. But you know how we talked about Trilogy of Terror so many times in the 70s, there was so much that's inferred. And like Trilogy of Terror, you don't see everything.
Right.
But there's enough that you see to lead you to the conclusion of what's going on, what happens.
The implication leads to inference. Yes. Inference, yes.
Whereas nowadays, in more your slasher and a lot of your more modern movies, it's about shock value of just seeing every gory detail.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what the point is? Is that there's a lot more that was inferred there? That
yes, there is a lot
between censors and.
I mean, basically we had 3 satyrs in this episode, and one of them is always going after the woman, and the other 2 are fighting him to get the woman, and then they're fighting Buck, who becomes a quasi 4th satyr, who has to protect the woman but pretend he's owning the woman. There is a lot of weird crap going on in this episode, and to me, with it was very obvious to me in regards to things that I used to hear my friends talk about in regards to what was going on in the late 70s throughout to the early 80s. And they were implying as much as they could, and they were laying things down and expecting us to pick them up. So I don't think anything we're saying here is exaggerated, Dadman. I promise you that.
All right. Well, let's see. Y'all get your final thoughts together, because I'd like to move on from this episode, but make sure you have your notes and all ready. I want to get caught up on the chat, because I've skipped quite a lot I've been flagging a lot of stuff. Of course, Mr. Angel said, I cannot forgive the writers for removing the white lycra on Wilma. What was that fake French sailor suit attempt? Yes.
Yeah.
Back to what we talked about earlier. Putin's Cat said Mork and Mindy had a similar problem. Very successful show. They removed 2 old cast members for 2 annoying young cast members, and they move it to another night. Mr. Angel, Mr. Angel, I'm sorry you missed this part. Hello, 911. I am being to the Galactic Overlords. I'm reading a chat, literally. Okay, it's not. So, hello, 911. I'm being attacked by a weird satyr, and I'm not sure if I should kill it or cook it or milk it. Wow.
One more note I had on this, Dadman. I know we probably want to move on, but I
want to make sure we get all your notes, though. But that's
Daisy's too. And Daisy's too. Yeah.
Before I forget, if I can go ahead, or did you want to?
Well, let me catch up on the chat. Then you hold it. I wanted all y'all to have your final thoughts. To make sure
Sorry about that.
When I'm done with it. No problem. Thanks for asking. Phantom Outsider said, just remember being a pepper won't protect you in London from those werewolves. Oh, and the main thing missing from the episode was appearance by Ron Burgundy on the pan flute.
Oh, dagnabbit.
I think Zamfir.
Pan flute.
I think Zamfir for those old commercials. So Mr. Angel then said, my house is being attacked by weird satyrs, and they are eating my hedge and my lawn. On second thought, forget I called. These guys are better than my gardener.
Nice one.
Master Phantom says, mystery? What mystery this was? Buck Rogers, not Kojak? Well, except for the satyr going, who loves you, baby? Which brought a swift and cease and desist suit. Oh, gosh. And Phantom Outsider, continuing with the theories. Let's be clear, this is just an elaborate sponsorship of this episode by Paul Mazan Wineries.
Right. Paul Mazan will sell no wine before it's time, outsider, as Orson Welles told us so.
Exactly. Paul Mazan Wineries. The evil was satires drank wine before its time. So, so of course, story takes a darker turn. Once Buck leaves, they started making wine coolers, ultimate evil. And last one, Buck needed to contact Earth's alcohol tobacco lobby, and they would have set up a series of wineries all over the planet, put those ladies satyrs out to work.
Satyrs.
Oh, you want the wine? Go get to work, goat boy. That's Calibus. I mean, we got Goat Boy. I thought of Goat Boy better than before Werewolf. But anyway, JT, okay. What is your next point?
One of the ways I would have rewritten this episode to make it better was don't put Wilma in the first 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds of this episode. Leave the robot on the ship and take Wilma with you. I think an interaction between the mother and Wilma would have been significant and could have told a human dimension to the story that we didn't get with the mother and Buck. Also, Wilma possibly being captured by the satyrs or some other escalation of tension that way could have been more helpful. You would have had maybe Buck potentially needing to be rescued, or have Wilma come to the day with some herbs that delayed things on the transformation until the ship got back. Some twist to the story, some imagination in it that would have kept the audience more curious about what's to come next. That I feel like they wasted Wilma so much on this episode, and they could have had a fantastic. It's my own ideas, of course. I think it's good, but I think they could have had a fantastic story, not just.
I think you're onto something very much. Yeah, because see, I was sitting here as you're talking, thinking about that, and it kind of brought something up. I thought about watching it. I mean, once again, we have another episode in season 2 where Buck's off on his own. Wilma's left out. Hawk. I mean, they did this big damn thing about bringing Hawk in this season as a new character, and he's always running solo missions somewhere else. A couple weeks ago, he comes in to steal the gun from the ambassador just at the right time. But he's barely in the episode, and yeah, I agree. I hope I'm agreeing with what your point is. It's like we could have done a lot more with having the group together instead of Buck once again off on a solo mission with a bunch of strangers.
Well, he had Twiggy, but
yeah, this time he did, but yeah.
But the robot has nothing to do. I mean,
no. Well, we need to talk about the robot in a second. But Daisy and Hungry, do y'all have any other comments or thoughts before we grade this episode?
Daisy?
No, go ahead.
Are you sure you don't have any more?
Well, she doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, Daisy. If you do, you do.
I would just agree that you wouldn't have. Why did they exit the ship? Okay, so in the beginning, when the mother makes it clear, you can't stay here. You need to go sleep in your ship. And then Twiki says, there's an intruder outside. And then they open the door to the ship and go outside. And then because Twiki didn't have anything to do, he got electrocuted, and so he was out.
That was a cool whip, though. That was a cool whip.
Yeah, but there was another thing. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Cool
whip. I know. What's some cool whip?
Wheaton.
Cool whip.
Where did those things come from? I mean,
that's in my notes, Daisy. Yes.
Well, then, Hungry. Where did they come from?
Okay, now, all right. I'm defending this episode.
The Ferengi.
You guys. No, I actually had to write this down because I was
your ears.
I was anticipating Daisy and JT having, shall we say, a slightly less stellar opinion, pun intended, of this episode than I had. So in my notes, the first sentence in this segment of the notes, where do the whips come from? Who made them? Plot flaw. I cannot believe that creatures whom speak pidgin English, barely able to complete comprehensive sentences, could create whips with electrical charges that can take out the shields of a space shuttle. And the only other option is that the other colonists had brought the whips with them when they settled the colony, which I do not believe, or they had made them after the first Satyr attack happened, which again would not be psychologically or sociologically believable for the way these colonists were presented. So I don't buy the whips at all. I had a big problem with the damn whips in the episode. Made no sense whatsoever.
I knew all that. And you know what, Hungry? 5 seconds after I saw that whip the first time, I'm like, yeah, we're never going to hear about how they got that.
Yeah, that's true too. But then, okay, so the satyr is having a fight with Buck in the water. And then he throws the electric whip thing into the water.
I know.
And then it electrocutes him back through the whip and electrocutes him, but not the water that Buck is surrounded by. I'm sorry, did you people go to middle school science? Do you know how electricity works?
These are the people that probably have a toaster running next to their bathtub with the water
I
drawn.
yes, yes, yes. They blow dry their hair in the shower in the morning.
Oh God, you too.
Wow.
I got one nice. Unless you guys got some more, I got one nice thing to say about the episode, and then I'm done. All right.
Okay, well let's do that and we'll move on. So hey,
okay,
I got a kind of a good introduction for the next one. Go ahead.
I bet you do. So I think the guy who played Jason, aside from the fact that with the modulated voices of the satyrs, we couldn't understand a lot of their dialogue unless you tried to listen to it 3 times. I understand that because the voices are supposed to be animalistic and bestial,
Right.
and therefore you can't have the effect and still have clarity of speech. But I mean, as much as a cliched monster as he was, he starts getting over his condition, and at that point, the actor is really allowed to carry his own water, earn his salt. The scenes between him and Sarah, the wife, were heartfelt and believable, and his barbarism, when he was in the throe of his satarism, shall we say, was unfortunately believable and accurate. Now, a lot of it was surface level, but that moment of his self-sacrifice at the end really got to me. Because he had started noticing what Buck was doing after he was becoming human again, and he was weak, and he was poorly, and he was dying. So I mean, the fact that, look, I can't save myself, but at least I can save my wife and son and kind of make up for what I did. That to me was very direct and very obvious, and I did like. I mean, it made me sad, but I liked that part of the story. And I'm done with this episode now.
All right. Well, let's grade it, folks. JT, I'll let you go first. What is your scale, and why do you grade this one?
Let's see. I'm going to rate it on like a wine reviewer scale, and I'm going to give it an 82, which you would probably not want to drink an 82.
Oh, so. Thunderbird. You know that joke, Daisy. You know that joke.
I would rate it as maybe Sutterhome or Yellowtail.
Oh,
Ripley.
Best.
Do you remember Ripley?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to go watch her next week on the big screen.
No, Daisy's referring to, I believe, Ripple.
Ripple
wine.
Ripple.
Yeah.
That's it. Ripple. Ripple wine.
Richard Pryor made joke about Ripple.
But dude, it led me to a great lead-in. You know.
That's true.
Better than Franzia, but not enough to change my mind enough to drink it, I guess.
No.
Yes, next Saturday I'm going to watch Alien in the theater. That's the
good. Oh, you mean the original?
Yes.
You're finally going to see that in the original?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. I will not watch it
nice.
till I see it because they're having it the 45th anniversary. And by the way, let me go ahead and tell you, that was a 1979 movie. But Wednesday night, Daisy and I will be talking about movies from 1984. I've touched on it during a couple of chill chats where we just talked about it, but this will be a little more organized. And Daisy and I, instead of reviewing a movie specifically, I'm going to be talking about movies from 1984 since we're hitting the 40th anniversary. So Daisy, thank you for that memory. Okay. So basically, JT, I know nothing about wine. So you're just calling this like average to below average.
So Franzia is the boxed wine that is about as low as you can get. It's like using somebody else's used motor oil as your motor oil in your car after they're done with it. I'm putting it like one level above this, which is like wine that's about $5 a bottle, but they charge you $10 a glass at Olive Garden, and you really should just pour it down the drain still, but it's not as bad as the boxed wine. So
all right. Well, we got JT's evaluation hungry. I want you to go next.
Okay. We knew we were going to disagree on this one because of all the stuff I mentioned, all the subtext, all the inference, bringing up the werewolf stuff, and getting a little bit of the Greek mythology correct, and also the wonderful acting by Ann Curry, and also, I mean, the guy who played Delph. That kid was not an annoying kid actor. I had to respect that. I give it 7 out of 10 Twinkies.
All right, 7 out of 10 Twinkies, a little up above average. Okay, Miss Daisy Blossom. How do
I
you grade it?
also would. The child actor was quite good for a child actor. I'm going to give it a C minus
Mm.
because of the acting and some of the things that we have brought up, the good things about it. I it would definitely be way below that if the acting hadn't been so good.
Mm.
Um, and and there were just some things that were okay about it. Yeah,
Okay.
Just okay.
All
just
right.
okay.
Well, actually, this is a couple few weeks in a row where we've had good child actors. I mean, last week with the Golden Man, where the kid was actually the adult, was actually a
Yes.
better actor than the adult playing the kid. It was just very very interesting. And yeah, that's definitely a good point. This kid was not annoying. He was not whiny. He was not even acting like a president, and then coming back and haunting us on New Year's Eve. Uh, so
Mm.
yeah, you got it there. You got it. But
Mm.
hey, oh my, I'm just looking at the picture of the next god awful thing. Well, the next episode we've got
Oh
coming up.
boy.
I will still say that this one is out of my five boxes of popcorn is really about probably a 2.5. It's right kind of in the middle. Not great,
Okay.
not bad. I actually think that this one could have been much better
Oh yeah.
with a few tweaks. Maybe not so much of the real world violent stuff, the thematic stuff that I look past intentionally because I don't like things like that. I
Mm.
mean, you can have intimidation and things like that without kind of insinuating to a certain too far. And
Excellent word.
I do not like that with women and children. And that's when I usually start to I mean, there's too much real life and stuff we got already.
Yep.
And granted,
Mhm.
this is made in the 80s. I will say that they did it better than I've seen in some of the 70s movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will say there were scenes out of Billy Jack that somehow got off. I could not escape because of the and other things that my family insisted on watching, which I did not want to watch. But so I've always had some problems with some of the stuff. So like I said, it not the bad worse. I love the concept. I love the mythology. I love where it started, where it could have gone, but it just it was not the worst at all. It was not a waste of time. Not like some of the others where I've been like, okay, look, can I just get to the end? But
Mm.
yeah, right in the middle. All right, which leads us next to jock itch. I mean,
Oh,
score
Scor
Skoratsky. Well,
Scoratitich.
Scoliosis.
yeah,
Oh.
this thing deserves every type of bad name, disease thing, and I will say it was like what annoying as uh, athlete's foot or the itch I mentioned earlier because
But they at least sell creams for that. I don't
yeah,
know what you put that cream in your eyes, it's gonna hurt.
Mm.
Trying to unsee
oh,
this thing.
this thing the
Don't do it, folks. Don't do it.
no
No,
no
honestly, I defend season 2. Avoid this episode, all of you. If you haven't seen season 2, don't bother with this.
I
Don't.
really think that I really think Jock Itch is a good name for this one because episode 34, 10th of the second season, Scratch, whatever. What kind of name is that? Vincent McVitie uh, directed. William Keys wrote
Scoragatich.
it.
They actually use the
Or,
word. The Munchkins use the word 2 times in the
Yeah.
episode. Scoragatich.
yeah,
It's like Mr.
so,
Mitzelplick. It's another bloody ripoff by Glenn Larson.
yeah.
Glenn.
But you know what? Okay, the searcher finds a derelict Zardonian bomb disposal ship. These are bomb disposals. Oh my gosh! I thought suppliers. I mean, just if you watch this episode, these guys make anyway. Talk about competence or incompetence. But hey, um, the searcher finds a derelict Zardonian bomb disposal ship crewed by 7 mischievous little men. Buck offers to help them finish their disposal mission, but the curious dwarves begin to wreak havoc aboard the searcher and severely damage Crichton's positronic brain. What do I think my cousin Vinny and and her right now? Oh gosh, I just positronic. I think it's positraction in that movie. Sorry. With the ship out of control and heading toward a star, Tweaky offers his own electronic brain to repair Crichton so he can initiate repairs to the ship. Once the dwarves realize the trouble they have caused, they offer to repair Crichton's brain with their telekinetic mental powers. This guest stars Tommy Madden as General Xenos, Alex Hyde White as Ensign Moore, John Edward Allen as General Zoman, Tony Cox. This is the guy from Bad Santa. Tony Cox as Private Zed, Billy Curtis as General Vumac, Harry Monty as General Sothis, Spencer Russell as General Totuk, and Charles Secor as General Kuzan. 6 generals and a private. Go. Think off would not have made it past the censors. You're right. So, all right.
Yeah.
This one. Go ahead, JT. Yeah, please go ahead.
Go for it.
Start with it. Go for it.
All right. Okay. Well,
you
so
take it. Yeah.
This could not be aired on present day TV, and probably for decent reasoning. There is a reference to the old way of saying Indians and chiefs, meaning too many managers, not enough doers.
Right.
And that would probably get you a strike. Then they had 7 shorter persons.
Little people, yes.
Okay, thank you. And I believe they used incorrect terminology for them on the episode. But the only one that was the private was an African-American gentleman, which I thought was kind of not a good play there. And they caricatured him as such. And then there was something else. The scene, and can we just get to this scene right at the start? I'm just gonna kick this one out here.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, hey, there's a scene that if I were a lesser gentleman, I would give this episode an A+ for it. But, they basically lock Wilma Deering into a small enclosed room with 7 men.
And they close around her in a circle, like a circle of wolves.
Yes. And then you discover as the audience member, they have a magical power where they can think things and manipulate them through telekinesis. Yeah.
But they couldn't stop the bombs from leaking fluid?
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
Yeah. And they literally say in this scene that they want to forcibly disgarment her for quote unquote science. I said, You really said for science? You really actually legitimately said for quote unquote science. I'm like episode. This is a lowbrow joke that people make on the internet, but not like in this type of a. Once again, 2 episodes in a row now where we're dealing with non-consensual treatment of women, and I'm sorry, I don't feel like I'm being too sensitive here. No. I found it repulsive. I think they were trying to make it to be a chuckle or a laugh for men in the 80s. Maybe that was acceptable back then. I do not find it acceptable now. So just know if you are going to watch that episode, you will see things that you couldn't get this thing on TV. And I think maybe society's improved in some facets on behavior that's not acceptable.
Even half the members of FNT would not accept that joke that they did in this episode.
At least half, right? If not all of them.
Oh, Ryan would be fine with it, but we'll leave that.
Well, the scene that you're talking about, though, didn't they kind of dishevel her top? Wasn't it like
disrobe her?
I mean, it's implied when they cut back to the scene where Buck comes in.
I thought it actually had like I thought it was ruffled, I guess, or there was
her belt.
There were parts removed. There was one part removed, and then they started unbuttoning the top. Yeah, and it got down 2 buttons, and then luckily we were saved from anything else.
So.
But when they cut back to it later, when Buck comes back in, she's like basically just trying to like hold the openings of her clothing to
Right.
her as she runs out, and I'm like, this is
Wrong.
wrong, and he doesn't do enough. Like,
well, I'll be honest though, JT. A couple things I'm going to say here, because I do think that like these guys are 100 years old. Who knows how long it had been? So they probably
they're over 1,000 years old. They specify that over
so
1,000.
They really went heavy with they hadn't seen a lady in a long time, so they really got active.
Well, but it wasn't even that. They didn't even know what a woman was, allegedly.
Right.
Which, if you're that old, in your spacefaring, you've never run into females.
Plot flaw.
I don't buy it. Getting off of that topic, because I found it disgusting. You get to this ship, okay, and they meet the Pack-Leads. The miniature Pack-Leads, and hungry. Yeah, the Daisy. I wouldn't expect to get that, but
that's a good Star Trek joke, man. That's a good Star Trek joke.
They meet these Pack-Leads, and I'm like, who the hell gave these people WMDs to just go fly around with like this? And they're like, oh no, they're fine. And then they open it, and just masses of reactant substance is just oozing out of these warheads.
You reminded me of something though I wanted to say about your earlier point though, JT, because you said that Bug didn't do enough like for women. I don't think anybody did enough to stop these jerks the whole episode.
Right.
I mean, the admiral should have thrown them in the brig and actually had them monitored, or actually throw them off the ship.
On the first offense.
Yeah, right.
On the first offense.
Because they ended up nearly destroying the ship and killing everybody for their sinless and stupidity, and that's a big. Not just with Willman, that scene with Bug didn't do much. They all did. They all just.
It was Star Trek Voyager levels of incompetence from the crew.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'll stand behind that all day. But well said, Dadman, because you're right. I felt that way, but I didn't write it down in my notes. But I was like just right in front of, it's just right on the bridge the first time they did that, and they had Admiral Adama right there looking at him, and he couldn't order them into the brig. Like, jeez. But right before they even got off this ship, and I would have left them on that ship and towed the damn ship.
Yep.
Just said, sorry, you get to stay with your cargo. You're not coming on our ship.
How many different scenes did they destroy something? I mean, before
at least
Crichton,
4.
Yeah, and
even
that scene before Crichton, they were destroying major ship systems and stuff.
And to back up JT, the thing is, they could have done exactly what he suggested. They had established with spoken dialogue that is in the final print of the episode that we all saw. They have been on that ship for 400 years or more. They can survive another 2 days in order to get to where they need to get rid of the bombs. We did not need to have those little bastards on the searcher. There was no need to have them.
Just a bunch of blue ones, though.
Well, I wouldn't have invited them, and I didn't think that they had the authority to detain these people either. And it felt like they were detaining them, except they did a really piss poor job at it.
That's why I wouldn't use the word detaining. I wouldn't use the word detaining, because it's like they just let them keep flying around the ship and doing what they want
to.
to.
Quarters is the actual term on a ship, and that goes back over 100 years. So
until they think their way out of the security.
Well, the ship has no sergeant at arms. That's apparent. Wilma or Buck have to play security guard. Where's your ship security?
You brought that up last week. Yes.
Yeah. And again, it comes back. So I'm like, okay, if you had that level of degradation of your weapons, those chemicals would be interacting, and if you didn't have a detonation, you would definitely be having a corrosive meltdown or a nuclear reaction, like a nuclear meltdown. Something.
China syndrome.
Something would have gone wrong. right? It's not, you don't just have these things leaking all over the place without horrible things happening. So that didn't make any sense. Why they had to go slow, because they had artificial gravity on that ship, and so it wouldn't matter what speed you went as long as the artificial gravity could compensate. You could go 1,000 times faster than the speed of light, and been totally fine. Had no issues whatsoever. So this whole, we have to wait this amount of time, blah 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 blah. Secondly, this collision was happening at such a slow speed. I doubt it would have actually damaged the ship. I was skeptical of that. So I won't keep going through all these on my list, Dadman, but there were too many we call them mechanical mistakes in the story that if an editor had gotten in the room with any serious time and a nice red pen, this whole thing would have been rewritten. And I found the way they treated the actors, the men, to be not flattering. I won't pretend like I'm high and mighty on this. I thought it was insulting the way that they cast them and asked them to act. So you can obviously tell I'm not going to give this a great score at the end, but I'll hand it off to other people because I talked.
Let's go to Daisy now. Let's go to Daisy. What did you think with this episode?
I tried right at the beginning to take notes, and then I gave up. I was not at all pleased for all of the science inconsistencies with everything that JT has said. With the whole, they were acting, I'm sorry. I was a sped teacher in elementary school. The first time they come onto the bridge and they start spinning around in the chairs and pushing buttons. Nope. And I would not be Mrs. Nice Kitty about it. And then if you found out that you confine them to quarters and lock the door and that they could get out, I'd have put them back on their own ship. You've been on there for 400 years. You can spend another couple days. We're not dealing with you. And then the whole situation with Wilma being the woman on this panel, totally unacceptable. I grew up in that time. I get it. It wasn't funny. Nope. It wasn't funny then, and it isn't funny now. And I would agree that I really expected Buck to come in and be a little more aggravated about what had happened to Wilma. And he just was sort of like, oh, wait, I don't want to have to babysit them. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Right.
No. And I don't like Crichton, so I was hoping he just wouldn't get a brain back. I love Tweaky, and I'm like, oh my God, please don't put Tweaky's brain in there. You'll kill Tweaky, and I'm going to be really upset. And the only part that I was really excited about, well, besides Tweaky coming back to life, was that they did repeat Asimov's laws for robots. That was the only thing that I did go back to writing notes about. But this episode was just, I'm sorry, this was unacceptable. And I didn't like it.
Well, like Phantom Ambassador said, they could have just aimed the ship at a sun and given it a push and told them to try off thinking the sun, guys. All right, Hungry, your thoughts?
Okay, to bounce off what JT and the remarkable and amazing Daisy has said, let me just say there's plot armor, and then there's armor Tony Stark would drool over. Okay? You know what I mean by that. And yes, I completely agree. The forcible, and I stress the word forcible, undressing of Wilma was unacceptable. I'm very sorry that Erin Gray had to go through that. We'll just let me say that and leave it alone. I would much rather watch a lesser Michael Bay Transformer film twice in a row than watch this ep ever
then she
again.
turned around and just kind of laughed it off like nothing ever happened. I mean,
That is also unacceptable because that's not
Right.
the way it actually feels to someone who's been in that situation.
That's how she would not have acted like it was funny.
And she's a colonel. She's a colonel. You don't do this to a colonel.
One more thing that they've done to strip down the presence of that aspect of the character from the comics and from the first season, the tough military person. Because I would have viewed her to knock the living shit out of him, like kick him or punch him or something, not just stand there and act all defensive. I would have thought she would have just
like thing on, thing off this, and just start haymakers and swing, judo chopping and all.
Dear. Yeah. And I want to swing off. I want to swing the bat at the ball that Daisy lobbed at us, and I appreciate actually not lobbed. That was a great pitch, 80-mile-an-hour pitch. I do not accept that creatures who claim to have lived more than a millennium, who act like hyperactive children after eating 5 Twinkies and drinking a gallon of Pepsi with no impulse control, are capable of creating interstellar space travel technology or solar bombs. The costumes were fun, though.
Yep.
I did like the costumes. Theirs. Yeah. They're the little, they did look like they should be doing some sort of on a ship on the ocean.
But Daisy, you have worked with people with, I'll be polite, cognitive difficulties, and you know what I mean. And these brats calling themselves generals clearly have cognitive difficulties.
My children never acted like, no, not even. They could have meltdowns that were not that. This was not just hyperactive children. This was stupidity levels of, I mean, none of my kids would have gotten into a car and started pushing buttons to see what would happen while we were going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour. They weren't that stupid.
It's like the Three Stooges creating a Stargate. I don't buy it.
No.
For a second.
Nope.
Nope, not at all.
Oh,
you could also see. You could also see.
In getting
speaking
all
of
the
how,
symbols.
I know how JT was saying with the last one, you could tell exactly what was happening in the first 10 minutes. The minute these guys, you could just see everything that was gonna happen way before. It was so telegraphed. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, hey. All right. Well, there's not much we can say more about this one.
I got some more things to say.
More, we'll go with it because really, it just seemed a bunch of disjointed scenes centering around a bunch of annoying.
That is in my notes. That's in my notes. The fact that this is not a plot.
This
is
real plot. Right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It is a bunch of barely related. They're only related by the character, not the causality. There is actually no causality in this episode. Plot is causality. Theme is feeling, etc. But it was so disjointed. It just felt like there were 5 short films that were cobbled together with a common theme, and that is very bad writing. That is very bad writing. And by the way, if they've been on a ship with failed power supplies for 400 years, how did they get the food that they whined about so much when they were on the Searcher? They whined at least 3 times about the food. You guys had food on your ship, otherwise you wouldn't have survived.
Right.
Right.
There's clearly a way of doing that. And then there's the bait and switch, because remember we had the good vampire episode we all talked about, the Nosferatu episode. So you start out with a spooky ship that may be abandoned, maybe not. They discover life forms, and then they go on there, and then we say, ooh, the spooky mucus coming down the walls. And we're kind of promised something that's going to be interesting, and then we get munchkins. We get munchkins instead.
And not the good donut kind, and not the good donut kind.
That is a bad bait and switch. Yep. And the silly speech patterns and the annoying amount of whimsy. I mean, honestly, if these guys were sunlight, okay, if Munchkins were sunlight, the generals in this episode is the magnifying glass burning a hole in the skin of the audience. That's how bad it is.
Gotcha.
And oh, geez. I will say one good thing about it, though. Tony Cox is the guy who played Private Zed. He was funny. He had some good moments. He was the Band-Aid on the gangrene. Much appreciated. And they kept saying, okay, Private Zed, take notes. He'd say, yes, sir. And then he'd just throw the notebook. That was good physical comedy. That was funny. His conversations with Buck were good. But the main problem is, aside from him, you had 1930s style humor, Marx Brothers style humor, trying to be a round peg in a square hole in what is supposed to be 25th century science fiction.
Right.
And they're trying to satirize the 1800s and the 1700s military characteristics, but it's never going to work. There are some genres that do not work together, and this is one of those cases.
Not at all.
Yep.
All right. Well, do you have any other points with your notes, Hungry, JT or Daisy?
I will just say that near the beginning of the episode, when they nuked that stupid robot that I hate,
Crichton.
I hate the strong word, but I feel every bit of it towards that stupid non-sentient robot. I was about ready to give this episode at least a B+, because I thought maybe we'll be rid of this Crichton off the show.
Or they put a new positronic. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Instead, we played Brain, What is Brain to bring it back.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, I was sort of hoping, well, maybe they'd had a letter writing campaign and nobody liked him and we were going to get a new personality.
Yes.
No.
Daisy.
We were both okay, so Daisy and I were both let down.
I'll be honest, I was not, because I knew that the guy doing the voiceover for Crichton actually had a long career in Hollywood and a long career with Glenn, so they were never going to get rid of Crichton. I'm just warning you guys, Crichton is not going away, okay? Spoiler alert, he's not going away. But speaking of Crichton, I do not accept that a cybernetic brain called Positronic would look like a cauliflower reshaped by a lasagna baking pan. I don't accept that.
Gosh.
Nice. You know what I mean, Daisy?
It reinflates when they were going to fix it, and it just kind of so you could just see somebody with the bicycle pump in the back pumping it back up so it would go back into its normal shape.
Yes. As we remember who were on BMX bikes, oh, my tire's flat. I'm going to go to the gas station and steal some of the air. I'm going to steal some of the air from the hose.
Wow. I actually had to have a tire fixed today.
I'm sorry, man.
At least it was free.
This is, I have to make one final joke, and this is for you, Dadman. This was specifically written for you. The on-think, off-think, on-think, off-think chants were more aggravating than the locomotion, never going to give you up, and dancing in the dark, mixed with shiny combined.
There you
That's
go.
how annoying it was.
Well, you broke out a shiny. I think that's a Mrs. Korea music reference. Damn,
no, that's not. Shiny is bad British music. British music.
Anyway, well, hey.
From the 80s.
I know. Anything's 80s you hate. All right.
No, that's not true. I like 80s. I just don't like top 40 80s.
But I agree. That's why it's my quest to find the all shot stuff. And actually, tomorrow night, I'm hoping Ramblin' Canuck still has his karaoke tomorrow night to celebrate his 40th birthday. So I'll be over there tomorrow night. But if he does, I'll make sure to get the word out about that.
But just before we close up, I have to ask Daisy and JT. When you saw Crichton's brain, when they actually revealed it, were you not, as sci-fi people, just offended at that cheap damn visual?
I wasn't even really sure what I was looking at. I was like, oh.
We've suffered through Spock's brain looked better than whatever the heck that was. I mean, seriously.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Speaking of visuals and props, Dadman, the most reused prop in science fiction television was in this episode, I believe.
I know the one you're talking about. Keep going.
It is the one, and I
Not
wish
the
I
pan
had
flute.
a picture of it. I wish I had a picture of it ready. It's the two tubes
Yes.
that are one on top of the other, but they're long, and they have like a laser beam that goes from one end to the other. So think of
Airplane
almost like
2 with William Shatner.
yeah,
Yep.
almost like two fluorescent light bulbs, but instead of it being like, luminous through the whole thing, it's just like two lasers. It's on what Hungary was mentioning. I believe it's on TOS. They definitely used it in a million episodes of TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager.
Yeah.
It's I believe it's in Star Wars somewhere, hiding out in the background. I could probably find it. They definitely use it in, I believe they even use it in The Expanse. Gosh. Like I know I'm forgetting like 6 other shows. I'd be willing to bet it was on the original Battlestar Galactica.
If you find it this week, bring it next week and we can look at it then. Absolutely. So,
Well,
all right.
Honestly, you've seen Airplane 2 with William Shatner, right? Right, Dadman?
Yeah.
It's used in that. It's actually in a scene in Airplane 2, so you've seen it. You have seen
it. I might not even realize it, but yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. Did everybody finish your notes tonight? Thoughts, comments? No. This one was like, don't waste the ink or pencil.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pointless and annoying with the nonstop. But hey, it's what it is. But yeah, JT.
I'm going to put this in private chat. You can see it. They show it. It's in Austin Powers.
Really?
It's in Austin Powers. Yep. It's in looks like X-Files.
Yep.
Wrath of Khan.
Yep. I remember it in Airplane 2 though.
Okay. Yeah. TNG. They show like 3 of them in the shuttle bay. Yeah. So I think everybody pretty much knows. I'll put the link here. You can watch it after the show if you're curious about what it is. But
it's not bad. Yeah, put the link out there for people can see if you want it. Fan Outsider said when I saw Crichton's brain, I thought they must not have a local Radio Shack. No wires, no circuits. How is this a computer? Oh, and there's the link. JT said, "Okay, Daisy, let's let you go first. How would you grade this episode?"
Okay, I had to get creative in my in my grading scale. So I'm going to rate it an L- for the most lousy thing I have watched in a very long time.
Wow. Nice. This is like below the Gary Coleman episodes almost.
I'd rewatch that one, and I will never, ever rewatch this one.
Ditto.
Wow. Okay.
Nice one.
Wow. Hungry, what do you think?
Look, I would have rated it 0 tweakies out of 10. However, I have to accept the good performance of Mr. Cox playing Private Zed, and I thought he did a really good job at that. And that's like 10% of the entire episode. So I have to give it 1 tweaky out of 10 tweakies.
Okay.
1 of 10. Wow. There is absolutely no love on that one. Jeez. I mean, either one of y'all. Okay, JT. Well, maybe you thought you were going to be lower than everybody else, but.
So they tried to play off of a trope from Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. So if I had to pick one of the 7 Dwarves to describe this episode.
Dopey.
Yes. Yes. Hands down.
Only I wish this couldn't talk either.
I wish it would have been happy or dumb.
Joke.
Sorry.
Or maybe even sneezy.
Sneezy, that would have worked.
Or hell, even sleepy would have been okay. But no, it's getting dopey.
They needed a combination of sleepy and sneezy and make it sleazy. That would have excited it a little bit better.
Nice, Dadman.
Thank you.
Apt. Very apt. Very good.
Well, Yep, I know. I got a good app, but okay. Finish your final grade, JT, or is this one just
Yep,
so?
I rate it. Dwarf
Dopey.
equals dopey.
Okay, there you go. On a 7. See, folks, we do it all kinds of creative ways. Yes, I love that on the dwarves. Okay, oops, I just they're really just this. I wanted to like the episode, and I knew that Tony Cox was in this, and I was excited to see how he was back then. He doesn't look like he's aged a day in 40 years to me,
true.
but
True.
I just still there was just no redeeming, and it's like at some point you just shoot him out of the airlock, or like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way when the big dude dropped down and he punched the little gun and he flew across the room. That's what you do. Dude,
I did like.
Listen. No. Here's how
Okay.
bad. Here's where I do. This is not a bucket of popcorn. This is buying the senior citizens small bag size of popcorn,
Which is all
And then
kernels
not
and
getting-
no popcorn.
Right,
Which
and
is-
not getting any popcorn.
Well, you get maybe a cup.
You know what I meant,
That's it.
Daisy? You remember that? All those kernels and almost no popcorn.
Oh,
But that's how bad. I'm not even giving. It doesn't even warrant a bucket. You get a small bag. So, all right, JT, what was you?
I was going to say, and I know Daisy at least will join me on this one. When Buck was telling off the robot, and he was saying, I'm going to make you discover knobs in places you never knew you had them. And I was like, please, I want to see Buck go ham on this guy, like the poor printer in Office Space.
Yes. I was like, let him have it. I was with you though. I just didn't want him to bring him back.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, just let him go. I'm done.
Yep.
Daisy, they had a perfect excuse that he's already been damaged. They could have said there is no bringing him back. We could have had this wonderful weepy waily moment with Tweaky and Dr. Goodfellow, otherwise known as First Doctor Who. JT, I know you like saying that, but it was a missed opportunity to get rid of a character that nobody aside from me somewhat enjoys. But that's only because I like Lost in Space.
Well, he's been getting
2.
grumpier though lately. He's like,
bitchy. He's getting really bitchy.
But what about all the rules of Asimov that they're supposed to follow? And all he's done is a moody teenager.
But that's a way of getting rid of the personality of Crichton and bringing on a new, more likable, more
I get that, but what I'm saying is, why did we ever?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking they were going to do. They were going to change his personality.
But why did we ever get that type of Crichton to begin with when you know what the rules are supposed to be?
Well, to be, Daisy, go, please.
I was going to say, being rude and obnoxious is not against the 3 rules.
Correct. Thank you, Daisy.
Okay.
The 3 rules. Yes.
Yeah,
Daisy?
that has to do with the robot not attacking a human, saving a human above, like Tweaky was saying, you guys are all in danger. And he was going, yeah, but you'll die. And he goes, yeah, but you will die if I don't do something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's what the rules are. It has nothing to do with whether or not the robot is obnoxious.
Correct. Oh, speaking of that, it reminded me of something when Crichton rolled into Buck with his annoying sound effects to wake Buck up. All I thought was the movie Chopping Mall where the robots go crazy and start.
I love that movie, but for reasons we can't talk about.
Yeah, I know some of those reasons. Yes, 2 of them at least. So, but hey, everybody, well, we're going to go ahead and end the show tonight, guys. We went right about 2 hours. A good show tonight. There's really not much more that we can kick on this one tonight. A lot of nights I would normally do a late night now following it. I'm not sure because there would only be about an hour before Mark does Fortnite. Plus, I am getting tired. Plus, Ang and I are supposed to hit the road tomorrow down to Orlando to pick up some cupcakes. So I got a long day ahead
Must
tomorrow.
Must be some damn good cupcakes if you're going all the way to Orlando.
They have cupcakes where you are?
It's a kid wanting to do something for some kind of I don't know, game or whatever else, and there's some special things, and of course, but
Okay.
that kind of thing. But you know what? We'll look at
Gotcha.
it as a dad and daughter road trip
Yeah,
and have some
sounds
fun
good.
with it. So normally I would love to keep going, but that's why I was glad I went live earlier with Snell Messiah. So go check that talk out where we talked some Star Wars with that. Great to all my panelists right here. Let me go ahead and tell you what's coming up real quick. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Sports Weekly with Dadman and Friends. JT Kirk's here. Sci-Fi Mommy, Whoopa Troopa are here. Yes, we will do that. I do have a few more announcements, but yes, I appreciate that and hope to. This week, JT, we did not get to the moving and the taxation stuff last week.
Ah, okay.
So we are planning to make sure to hit that this week. We're kind of working on our format so that we have time for that, because we were at 2 hours last week and had not gotten to it. And it was like, okay, we need to give it due caution, due care and concern with that. What's there? So join us Tuesday night for a great show. Also, crap, I hit the button wrong. Sorry. Wednesday night, Daisy Blossom movie. Instead of looking at a specific movie, we're going to look back to 1984, and the missus made the thumbnails. How many of those movies could never be made again?
All
How many
of
of these movies should have never been made or try to be rebooted? But hey, we will see. So I'm looking forward to this wonderful discussion to Daisy and get back with my friend. I missed her, and we will be back in the saddle again with that. Make sure you hit that show. And then next Friday, the next last of our Buck Rogers show, The Hand of Gora and Testimony of a Traitor. I've read some of the synopses on these, and I'm like shaking my head already. But who knows? Yes,
it's going to be better. It's going to be better than the second episode tonight, at least. We can say that. But
I already got questions about the Traitor one, and I'm like, why couldn't they bring us back some people we know of? But
right.
I will
got you.
not go on that.
I haven't read the synopsis yet, Dadman. I'm wondering, is this a 1-to-1 copy of Court Martial from Star Trek Season 1, Episode 20?
See, and if it is, I'm curious to know, because then dadgummit, why did they have to be Star Trek? Because this, y'all mentioned several things tonight again, and y'all have for weeks about parallels to Trek and this to Trek and all that to Trek. So
and Lost in Space and other
Lost
shows
in Space and all that other stuff. So yes, and absolutely, we will. Oh gosh, Lady V, it's going to be very warm out there tomorrow, so we're going to try to stay in AC as much as
lucky
we can.
you,
We
it's
don't
getting
like
cold here. It's getting cold.
God. Well, y'all got it all backwards back there, down there. So
I'll send the heat your way, I promise you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Of course, chill chats are something which happened like tonight, where just random streams and stuff like that. It was great to have Snell Messiah on tonight. Also, Fortnite fun. Need to get back into some Fortnite. We've taken off a lot, but some of these streams are really subject to how I feel, how tired I am, and with so much, like I said, we're now between home base and remote base, and it's going to dictate what we do on a lot. So there'll be a while before echo based. So also, this is why I'm planning on this being Wednesday and Friday night, though. Normally, this Friday night, because of getting on the road tomorrow, we're going to hold off on that. But look for this to start more prominently in the near future with that. But let's see. We go here. Live streams and videos on youtube.com, twitch.tv, and X on Twitter at DadmanWalking55. So, oh, you're sweating like wow, you're sweating that bad just sitting there? Oh, man.
Has summer begun early in the United States or something?
In the 90s here in Florida. So
what?
Not around me. It's seasonally spring.
It's in the mid 80s here.
It's in it was in the low 90s today. Yeah, it was hot outside. So yes, and where Lady V element is, yeah, it's hot there too. So
well, just don't tell Al Gore, because he'll get on his nut again.
It's okay. Just keep sweating.
You know what I meant, JT.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask y'all to do a favor before we see you next time. I want y'all to go do me a favor. I would like for you. I'm going to put this link out here, and it's a surprise. I want y'all to go over to visit our friends right here. Oh, yeah. Lady V is right. The humidity. It's not just the heat. Daisy, y'all have the dry heat. Hungry, it's that tropical stuff. You may know about it because of where you are in Queensland. It's that humidity added with the temperature that really gets bad. That's the point. Let's see.
When you get out of the shower and 5 minutes later, you're just as wet as when you got out of the shower.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Diarrhea.
Exactly.
Diarrhea. Oh wait, you weren't singing the song. Never mind.
Nope.
You know the diarrhea song, don't you?
Diarrhea, cha cha cha. Diarrhea, cha cha cha.
Yeah.
That's from Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot where it was from.
Lady B said that's accurate. Exactly. That's why I miss being located out at the beach over the winter. I did some beach streams like lunchtime things, and I missed that. But I got stuck into the daggum city, so all that. But I will tell you, I was holding off on this. I do. We will see you next time. But let me. Sorry, I'm taking this down a sec. I do want y'all to go because I'm going to highlight this. I want y'all to, as we end, for the several of you left, I would like y'all to go over right now and say hi to Troy and Netters over on Troy's channel. Subscribe to him if you can. Go say hi to them. Since I am not doing a late night stream tonight, go support them. Normally, when the future, like I said, Friday nights, we're going to have some fun going forward. But go support these great people. They were great blessed to help us last night, and me and the missus and wonderful people. So, and
Who's
yes,
Troy?
Lady B, I did it myself because I wanted to surprise you with it. Troy Passetti.
Oh, him. Okay, right.
Yeah, exactly. So go over there, and I'm going to end the stream. And everybody, have a great night. Love all y'all too. All the best. See you around. DM me on Twitter. Say hello sometime. And thank you, JT Kirk. Thank you,
Trying to
JT
save you
Kirk.
there, Chief.
Thank you, sir. I get, but the missus in the morning, 10 a.m. For your morning muses. Give me a second. Since I'm not doing a stream, I do need to show this, folks. Who knows about the missus and her builds lately? That one build that she's been fighting with.
The one you sent me the photo of?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
I'm trying to figure out how I can get this up to stream real quick. I know I told everybody to go somewhere else, but I wanted to show y'all this since JT brought this here.
Come back.
Come back. He's treating us like a boomerang, Daisy.
I'm
He's treating
sorry.
us like a boomerang.
I need to get better on my my outros anyway. But hey, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll do it this way. I know how I'm going to do this real quick. I will make it quick. I promise. I'm sorry. This. All right. Let's see. Do. Because it really warrants a look at the missus for her hard work. But if you're familiar with the streams on this build lately, it has been not even a labor of love. It has been really almost a nightmare build with the way it has been, because it was everything could go wrong, went wrong, and all this stuff here. So I'm going to show it to you real quick here with this. I'm just going to show you the one picture that has the lights on it, and we will go out with that. So, but definitely check the Mrs. channel out. She's 222 subscribers. Support her on Ko-fi or her Throne account. Appreciate all the support here. There's a little bit of the crazy stuff in the background, but let's see. And we will go out with this final scene. So, but
Hello?
Did we lose Dadman?
Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey,
there you are.
It took a coffee break, like I always say, because I couldn't highlight this. Lady saw the last one finish. Wow, it was gorgeous. Those lights were fantastic. And here's what she ended up with here.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Check the missus out tomorrow morning. And remember, on Sunday, she's at 1 o'clock and not 11. But there we go. There's the build. There's the lights of the water there. Check her out. Go subscribe to her channel. Make sure you're still subscribed. And, thank you so much. Check her out tomorrow and check her out when she does builds. And she may be starting some evening streams coming up. We're talking about how we can do things in the new situation, and we'll see what goes. But hey, keep a line, follow us on Twitter and everything else. So definitely go check her out in the morning. And I'm going to put this up here and say good night, everybody. Have a good night, and go over there, say hi to our friends, and we will catch you later. Bye, all.
Nighty-o!